Hey everyone, it's the Badguy here, back with another video, and today we're going to be doing an in-depth guide on Katarina, the wind valkyria. She's a fusible unit, so anyone in this game who puts in the time can definitely get her. We're going to talk about whether or not you should fuse her, and when you should fuse her, and we're also going to talk about where in the game she can be used, on where she excels, as well as the teams that can be used with her. Alright, let's first take a look at her skills. Her first skill is Sword of Promise, attacks with a sword basically. If you kill a unit with a sword, it activates her second skill, which we'll talk about over here. Soul Reaper, so if you kill a unit with her first skill, it will activate her second skill randomly on any other monster on the field, enemy monster on the field. And this skill over here, the second one, it recovers HP, it has a life leech like inbuilt, so, and it also does good damage, and it's usable in, I think, a few turns. In 4 turns when it's max skilled. My Katarina doesn't have any Devilmons on her yet. I'm working on it. She's my next target to be Devilmon. And then finally here we have Sword of Discharge. This is what makes it really good, because if she has invincibility on, this hits 3 times randomly. If she has invincibility on, it's going to ignore defense, and it does a lot of damage. That's why you see her used in raids and things like that. And then finally over here, leader skill, arena leader skill, not really going to be useful because you're not going to put her on defense, so it won't really help. So it's okay though, it's a decent skill for maybe an early game sort of setting. Alright, now we're gonna move. We've seen her skills. Now let me show you actually her runes. These is how I have my Katarina runed. Not the best runes, but she does good damage with this. 70% crit rate, as you can see, because I use her with Kabezanuf, which is also fusible. She's runed on Fatal Broken Set, and I'm satisfied with these runes. Let's start with slot 1, slot 1. Alright, those are her runes. Now we're gonna head straight into the first place where she's mostly used, and that's gonna be Guild Wars. Alright, let's go right ahead. Alright guys, now we're here at Guild Wars. Today we're having a Guild War versus Illustrious. So we're gonna try and use Katarina here, hopefully to some great effect. We're gonna hit this guy, Andy ROO. I think it's Andy Rue. Either way, it's fine. We're gonna use it in this team over here. When you're using Katarina, you wanna use it in these sort of teams. You wanna avoid teams with attack word buffers because they may cut in between, especially for the team that I'm gonna use. Let's go ahead and do it. This is the team that I'm gonna be using. Katarina, Jamire, and Kabezanuf. These two are fusible. You can replace Jamire over there with a Bernard. It could still work, but it will require your Katarina to hit a lot harder, because you'd want to kill at least the monkey with 1 hit, so 2 of them don't go back to him. And you maybe want to kill Chisun with 2 hits, but with Jamire you get a second chance. That's why I want to use him. So we're going to use Jamire for that team. And for the top one, we're just going to try Lucian it. You may think, why Lucian or Rakan? Well, Rakan, I'm going to use my Frigate, I'm going to use my Megan, and I'm going to use my Lucian over here. So the whole point of this team is that hopefully I'll be able to kill the Panda and this guy, or Gemini, and then we'll just be left with Rakan. Megan can remove his buffs, and then Frigate can stun him, and we'll just control him and he won't get to use his collapse. So let's go ahead, use Katarina here. This team should work very well against the bottom team. Like I said, if you have a Jamire, he works very well with Katarina. So make sure you pair them together. One of the reasons why I wanted to fuse my Katarina is because I pulled Jamire, because they work very well together. For this first one, let's get this one over with. We could lose if we don't kill the Panda, but hopefully that does not happen, because he's a defense-based unit and we're gonna ignore defense, and we didn't crit him. We should have crit him, because they're usually not ruined with. That's a dead Lucian, but that's fine. As long as we kill Gemini here, we should be fine, because we can just, hopefully we get the Will Rune buff. Yeah, then we can stun him and then just control him up. I have a second Lucian, so even the worst case scenario being that I don't that I don't, how do I put it, that I lose my Lucian, there's always another Lucian, so it's not really a big deal. And we can just use these two to control him up and make sure he then collapses back. So it's a pretty solid team. Like I said, the only way we lose, the only times I lose with this team is when, for example, oh, okay, for example, we get bad luck like that. Damn, okay. But it usually works, so it's alright. We lose that. Now for this one, the ideal one would be maybe 2 on the monkey, 1 on Chisun, or 1 on Theomars, 2 on Chisun, things like that. The monkey can cause a problem because he can do stuff like that, you know. But that's okay. My Jamar is pretty fast. Let's see what happens. Don't stun. No stuns. Let's see if we get a good roll on this. 1 on Theomars, then 2 have to go. Okay, it's not going too well here. It could have gone better. Let's try slow them down. Okay, we'll refresh. I think my Katarina could die here because of Theomars. Okay, we've lost Katarina. This is not good, but sometimes you get unlucky like that. I should have attacked the monkey with Jamire so he didn't get stunned. If he didn't get stunned, at least we could have gotten the second round of immunity on Katarina. We ended up losing Katarina, but that's okay. I guess you guys understand kind of what you'd want to do with Katarina. You get the gist of what I was saying. We've lost her, so we really can't use her in the skill row anymore. So I think we'll just go ahead to the next place where we're gonna use Katarina, and that. Alright guys, the next place we're gonna show off Katarina is in the arena. As you can see here, we're using Katarina with a basic team that I was using in Guild Wars, but now with a frigate there to buff their attack bar so they can get turn 1. And you can see everything is going pretty fine. About to use sort of discharge here, and the thing about Katarina is that it's RNG, so all of it can go into one person. Like we see here, it all goes into Camilla, but we managed to kill the Camilla, and we just keep at it. And then with thanks to Jamar here, we can get a second chance at sort of discharge. That's why these two are very good together. And this should be a win as long as it doesn't all go into Sekhmet or something like that. So here we go. One more sort of discharge, and this is done. It's basically finished at this point. It's over. So with this done, we'll move on to the next fight where I'll showcase a different team. Now in this next fight, we're gonna be using a different team. Instead of having an immunity buffer, we're gonna go with Galleon. Gallion's gonna buff the defense. He's gonna debuff them with defense break and give us an attack buff. You don't need to use Tableau here. You can use anyone else who's a speed leader, because we need a speed leader to ensure that we outspeed that Bernard. And here we go. We use the second skill to kill. It has a huge multiplier, so we kill that Theomars and we can get immunity on our Katarina, and then on the next turn we can use sort of discharge now because we have immunity buff. So you can use her in this way, and this should be a win basically. Like I said, we didn't really need Tableau here. We just any attack bar, any attack leader would do. Okay, so we just slowly work them down, and then we get to do sort of discharge, and it should kill most of them. And this is basically over. As you can see, next turn Katarina can do her first skill, and it will activate on killing someone. The second skill will activate once we kill someone. So we should get basically 2 attacks in one turn. That's something that's really good about her. So you see, we go first skill, and it kills someone. There we go. And this is in the bag. So we're gonna move on to the next footage we have of Katarina, the last team. Now this next fight here is gonna be the last footage I show of Katarina in Arena. In this one we do a different, it's still the same team, but it's gonna be a different approach. I'll show you guys right now. Same thing, we buff. Galleon goes and buffs as well. And then, like I said, Talbot is just there for the speed lead and nothing more. We don't even use his third skill, which is known for. And then now we can go for the first skill instead of the second skill. As you can see, they're all armor broken. So we go hit them with the first skill, and then the second skill will proc, killing another unit. You see 35,000, and then we have immunity. So on the next turn, we can use the Sword of Discharge, and it will kill. If we weren't frozen here, it would kill the rest of the team. So it's a better strategy against teams which are more squishy. So you kill a squishy unit on the first turn with your first skill, and then you proc Sword of Discharge on the second skill, and then it's GG after that. Now we just have one Barad left. That's not really gonna do much on its own, especially since we're wind and he's water. We have elemental advantage, and this game is in the bag. So this is basically how you'd want to use Katarina in an arena sort of setting. Alright guys, the next place where we're going to use Katarina in is in Raid 5. Now, we've probably all heard about the Katarina Jamire raid team. Now this team will only work if you have a Jamire, a Chloe, and a Katarina together. The other units you can change them and mix them in and out to find whatever works for you. This is what I usually use: Delphoid to cleanse and cleanse the attack down debuff, and then we use Diaz to lower the damage that they take, and Colleen is self-explanatory. She's used everywhere in raids basically. She buffs attack. So you can't really use this team if you don't have Jamire. And Chloe. It's the prerequisite. But if you do have them, you can use her here. So it's kind of a niche team. Let's go ahead and first let me show you the stats of the guys I'm using. This is Jamire's stats. Quickly go over his runes. Actually, not. We'll do that during the raids. We can do that during the raids. So this team is very rune. It requires high rune quality on most of the units here because you need them to survive, and you need Katarina to do high damage. One reason why I'm putting Devilmons in my Katarina is because she needs to have max skill, so she does the most damage. The team basically all it does is it contributes damage. You want to finish the raid faster. So I only recommend you. This is not a team that you want to start building early on. It's something that you want to do late game, mid game to late game. That's when you would wanna use it. So it also works very well if you have other people who help you do more damage, like people who can provide you with a brand. As you can see, it's working pretty well. Katarina should do a lot of damage here. You see how fast we're already on the first jump, and this will work even better once I get skill ups into my Katarina and better runes. And free rune removal is just about to come, so there'll be a lot of work for me to do there. Alright, let's go see. This is the team, like I told you I was going to show you the runes. Chloe, this is how Chloe's runed pretty fast because I also use her in Guild Wars and other places. These are her runes and her stats. You know, like for frontline, you'd want to shoot for around 1,000 defense. She has a bit less. 1,000 total defense if they're around 2 of them. 1,000 plus total defense if there are around 2 of them in the front line. Or more, as much defense as you can get. But if you have 4 in the front line, then you can skimp on the defense a little bit and it will still be fine. Like you can see, my Jamire has a lot of defense. My Delpho here also has a lot of defense, 1400 in total. Because with the buff, with the leader skill, the 33% leader skill, then you're able to have like over 1500 defense, and that should be fine. And then we have Colleen here. You see she also has a lot of defense, though I'm not using her in the front line. In fact, I can replace her for Chloe anytime. I don't know why I have Chloe in the front, but it works just fine. I don't usually fail often with this team. And then this is Katarina. I think you already saw her stats. So yeah, the team works fairly well. It may fail if like I raid in public with other people who aren't very strong, because this team doesn't provide any debuffs. There's no attack down. Okay, there is attack down, but it didn't do it consistently. That's why the other two teammates either have to be able to provide the debuffs and keep us alive during the whole raiding process, or they have to do so much damage like me. So in the case of having maybe 3 Katarina Jamara teams, that would work fine, or having Katarina Jamara team, then this is my other team. It does a lot of damage as well. As you can see over here, it's not that far behind in damage, and it does provide a lot of assists. You can see it provides assists, so, and it does enough damage. So even if this team wipes at the end, this one should be able to carry through and push us to the end of the raid. Same with my guildie over here, TIG Luffy. His raid 5 team is really strong, so we don't really have to worry about wiping. And it should at the end give you a decent run, a fast run. You also want your Katarina to have a decent amount of HP. The good thing about Katarina, which I've noticed, is she has a lot of base HP. She has like 11k base HP, so you don't need that. If you have a few HP substats in your runes and HP and defense, it will make her a lot more survivable. It's very strange how she has so much base HP, even more than some support monsters. Let me just show you guys. She has so much base HP, and her base defense isn't that bad either, so she will do very well for you in R5 if you rune her well enough. Also, as you can see, you only rune for 70% here as well, because in raid usually someone has a crit rate leader skill, so you'd only need 70%, and then either a 19% from Ahua will push you to around 89, and as well as 24% from Theomars or something will push you to over 90, which is just fine. Alright, we'll do one more run just to show you guys this team is solid and it doesn't fail very often, as long as you have decent raid mates, I guess. We'll go with Danny here, I think. Let's see what he has on support. Can I switch that? No. Let's see. What do we need here? We need a defense leader skill or a crit rate leader skill. So let's just get some support. Yeah, this should be fine. And he also has a brand sticky. So let's go ahead. This should be fine. One more raid. The last place we're gonna show Katarina in is in Arena. She can be used there, though it's not the best team, but if you're early game, maybe fighting in C1 Arena, she will work. But once you get to high C2 and C3, maybe Guardian Arena, it won't be the best option, because, you know, people there have a lot of good monsters and they know how to build their arena defenses really well, so you really can't get away with doing things like bringing a Katarina to the arena in arena offense. Sometimes this team derps, Chloe doesn't buff, things like that, like this happen, because the ideal thing is that Chloe buffs, she moves first, she buffs, and then we do damage with Katarina. I'm not even sure if she'll be able to get off this sort of discharge here. That was really bad RNG. Chloe didn't buff on her first turn. I think we should be able to get the sort of discharge off. So yeah, as you can see, it's still going fast even though we did derp. That's why I said if you're going to use this team, it's best to use it with people who have strong enough raid teams. Or maybe in raid 4 you can do that. Then you wouldn't need your team to have good teams, then you can just carry it yourself. But I don't recommend that. If you're building a Jamara Katarina team, you should be pretty far up into the game, because of the rune quality that's required to actually make it work in R5. I should actually move Colleen up front, but it's okay, it still works. And this team, it has a lot of survivability too. Can't spell now. It has a lot of survivability because Chloe has a heal. Delphoy has a heal and Katarina has a heal, so it works out pretty fine. And Jamar will just keep on slowly by slowly. He'll be resetting their skills, so there should always be ample heals. Okay, I think we should be able to get a sort of discharge off here. I think. Katarina also has a lot of base speed. You know, Katarina's base stats are really high. She has good attack, she has good speed. There's almost nowhere that she's lacking. If she had a better skill set, she'd be one of the stronger units in this game. Stuff like that sometimes happens, where the raid boss does not. The raid boss removes Katarina's buff before we may. I don't think we'll lose it, but we've lost Katarina. There's no attack buff on. There we go. Like, we could have died there because of no attack buff. But like I said, even if this team actually wipes, we still have this team. And whoa, Luffy is just about to wipe too. We'll see what happens. It could lose. If it loses, I'm gonna cut it out. But sometimes, you know, it does work against you because the lack of attack buff there really killed us. But I think this team should be able to carry us through it. I think so, yeah. And Luffy has a revive, so yeah. Like I said, you need good teammates for this to work, because it could fail. But I think we should be fine. It should be fine. Now, maybe we could talk about the turn order that you'd want on your team for this to work. It depends. You can have your Jamara go last, or you can have your Jamara go first. I have mine going first because okay, this is probably, I'm not sure if, I think we should be able to do it. Either ways, I have my Jamara going first because that's the way I've ruined my game. I have some really good Swift runes, so I figured why the hell not. And plus Jamara has good base speed, so I was like, I might as well also give him runes that will provide him with a lot of speed. He's even faster than my Orion, and I don't want to change his runes. He has good HP, good defense, and I use him quite a lot. This should be fine. Though my teams did wipe, sometimes it does happen. I think we should be fine. Yeah, we should be fine. So yeah, like I said, you saw how well the other run went with Luffy's team, because Luffy is really strong, and he's able to, like, you have to be, your teammates have to be able to put the debuffs on the boss, like the attack down. If we had attack down there, it wouldn't have failed. The other teams would not have died and would have been able to clear faster. So these are things you have to think about when you're trying to build a Jamara Katarina raid team. But that's more than enough runs. You saw it works. I use this team a lot. Even when I'm raiding in the public domain, I use those two, and I can usually even carry players who aren't that strong, but sometimes it fails. So yeah, no, I think we're done here. No, now we'll go straight into the last place. You can not into the last place where you'd want to use her. Not really the last place. There's one other place over here. I use Katarina in the Rift Beast. You can use her if you don't have any other wind attackers. Let me just pull this one out and show you guys just one run on Katarina. It won't be effective because there's no one to buff her. There's no one to buff her, to buff immunity for her, so she won't be able to ignore defense, but it works just fine anyways. Let's go ahead and I'll show you guys. Alright, so here we are in the Rift Beasts, the Water Rift Beast. Like I said, she works just fine. She does good enough damage on her first, second, and third skill, even without being buffed. And I get consistent S's on this Rift Beast. Like I said, I'm not that late game that I can't call myself late game. I can say maybe end mid game there. I can clear all the PvE content, but I can't get triple S's and things like that. I can get triple S in the Fire Rift Beast, but I'm unable to get triple S in the Water Rift Beast on auto at the very least. I am not gonna do this thing on manual because I don't have that much time on my hands. I have other things that I need to do. So it's either on auto, I'm not gonna do it at all. So like I said, I can get S here, and I can also get an S on the wind, but A+ is on the light and dark. But eventually that will even out because, like I said, as my rune quality gets better, you'll be able to get better. You'll be able to do better in these rifts. So as you can see, she's working out just fine, right? She doesn't even need immunity. Yes, invincibility, I mean. So this team works pretty well for me. So if you guys maybe pulled a Katarina early on, you can put her in here, and you ruined her decently well. Put her in here, she'll help you get that S or whatever, because what you need here is damage dealers. If you're lacking wind damage dealers, you can use her. She actually does more damage than Lucian, so you might as well just put her here in place of Lucian, especially if you have a max guild. There we go. I have a lot of room for improvement here. I can replace Orochi with someone else, and I can replace Lucian with someone else. But then again, I also want to keep Lucian on because eventually I'll stop using the Orochi leader skill and use the Lucian attack power leader skill. So this is an S, as you can see. Not gonna be a problem to get an S. And with the changes to Rift Beast, you want to have... I could put Xiaolin in here, but I was like, with change, like Orochi's leader skill is only for wind, and with the changes to Rift Beast, the wind monsters like have a huge advantage when it comes to going into the Rift Beast. They take less damage and they do more damage, so I was like, I might as well just use Katarina. It will make it a lot safer than using Xiaolin. There we go. And I don't need any more frontline other than just Rune and Bernard. So S, close to a double S. I'm sure if I make some few changes here and there, I can get a double S, but I'm not really focused on Rift Beast too much right now. Alright, there we go. A good run on the Rift Beast. And then finally, alright guys, that has been my breakdown of Katarina. She's a good unit. She has amazing base stats. Speed, defense, attack, you can't question any of that. And she also has decent skills, can be used in different places in the game, and she will do pretty well. So if you have a Katarina, I recommend that you use her in when you're mid to late game. That's when you'd want to think about fusing her, but maybe if you pulled her earlier game, you can definitely use her as well. She can be used in Guild Wars, Arena, and many other places. Rift Beast is more of a niche team, so not really Rift Beast, but Rift Worlds R5. It's more of a niche team because you can't do it without Chloe and Jamara, and those are not really obtainable units. I just did it for those guys out there who maybe have it and maybe are thinking about building a team like that. So all in all, she's a solid unit, but she needs other units to make her good. That's the biggest part. That's the biggest downside about her. Other than that, she's a good unit, and if you're looking for a new option for Guild Wars offense, go ahead and build her. If you maybe are struggling in Arena and you have her, you can use her for that. Also, if you're gonna build her for Rift of Worlds, you know that she needs a lot of high stats and she needs Jamara and Chloe. So all in all, a good monster. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. This has been my take on Katarina, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.